Hello dear readers and subscribers. In this video we're going to take on another hot topic for artists, pricing your art, and in particular pricing two-dimensional art, paintings, works on paper, fine art photography prints and prints of original artworks. Only with the correct prices an artist can achieve sales and success in the art world. So no matter your efforts or no matter how good your art is when you're starting out, if you get your prices wrong, sales are unlikely. However, it is very difficult to determine your pricing for your art, as there is so much conflicting information on the internet and among artists. Therefore, in this video I'm going to talk about a formula that will solve all these problems once and for all. If you follow the advice from this video, you will be able to price your art consistently and in line with the market standards. Even more, to make your life easier and to make no mistakes whatsoever, or to easily change or shift up your prices over time, we have created a tool to generate your prices automatically. The price of an artwork is determined by numerous measures. For instance, the artistic discipline and thus the materials in use. If the artwork is unique or part of an edition, the size of the artwork is also important. Bigger will be more expensive, of course. And arguably, this is the most important aspect, the resume and relevance or art historical importance of the artist in question. It makes perfect sense that an established artist, where there is a lot of demand due to their art historical importance, will be a lot more expensive in comparison with a beginner artist. A small work by a blue chip artist will be more expensive than a large unique work by a beginning artist. When pricing two-dimensional art, from paintings, drawings, fine art photography to prints, the best way to get your prices right is by using a widely used formula based on the artwork size and the artist's career. Height plus width multiplied by the index number equals the price. Other similar formulas, for instance the square inch formula, will result in small works being very inexpensive and large works very expensive. With this formula, the index number is a lot more important than the dimensions of the artwork. And this is of course what we talked about the different measures, what creates value for an artwork, which is of course the career of the artist reflected in the index number. So to price those different artistic two-dimensional disciplines, we're going to set up a couple of different categories of what type of artist or at what level your career currently is, and based on that career level you can simply select your price range. First, we have the category of the hobby artist. You just started out as an artist and are exploring your medium in your first months or years. Your style and technique are still in progress and you haven't exhibited your work yet. For now, art is just a hobby, and that's fine. And the value of your work will be slightly above the sum of your material costs. The second category is the amateur artist. Art has become more than a hobby, as you create regularly and have exhibited at some low-value venues. Think of having an open studio day or an exhibition at a local library, bar or art supply store. However, you haven't had any exhibitions yet at venues that are part of the art world, for instance art galleries and museum institutions. Therefore, you have little to no reputation or artistic value beyond the decorative value of your works, resulting in a price range of $200 up to $2,000 for your works. The third category is the new emerging artist. You have been able to enter the art world and are exhibiting at your first few small art galleries. Therefore, you start to see some sales by art collectors, and perhaps you have been selected for an entry-level art award or residency. Your works start to have true artistic value, resulting in a price range of $500 up to $5,000. And to conclude, the fourth category to price our art is the advanced emerging artists. As you have solidified your presence in the art world, exhibiting frequently at small to medium-sized art galleries, you have had at least 5 group exhibitions and 1 solo exhibition at high-value galleries. You have a steady selling history with a decent collector's base, following and acquiring your work as a validation from the art market. You have had art world validation through at least 1 institutional exhibition or an individual honor, and the price spectrum by doing so will be between $1,000 and $10,000. If you would surpass the level of an advanced emerging artist, then pricing shouldn't be an issue anymore, because by then you'll have a gallery with experience in advising artists to price their art, to grow steadily and become from a mid-career artist artist to an established artist. So if you're entering that stage, make sure that you work with a gallery that has the experience to make this transition from mid-career to established, and preferably has artists in their roster that are blue chip artists, that they have experience in that era. If you're not represented by such an artist, feel free to contact other galleries that are at a higher level. From this point, it is acceptable to contact galleries if you have the track record to show if you can bring something to the table to work with them. Based on these categories, let's discuss the index numbers to price your painting. We're going to make the sum of the width and the height of your artwork and multiply it by your index number based on your level. In this video, I'm going to present these index numbers and prices in centimeters and euros. However, please note that both the calculator tool that we offer at CAI and the online article also provide this information in inches and dollars. Painting is always a unique work of art, and historically speaking, the material attributes are the most superior, the most expensive for two-dimensional artworks. Painting was a very expensive medium, and by doing so, this historic trend resulted in the highest index numbers for two-dimensional art. For hobby artists, this index number should be between 6 and 10, amateur artists between 10 and 14, new emerging artists between 14 and 18, advanced emerging artists between 18 and 24. When it comes to selecting the exact index number in that range, there are numerous elements that can make you go a little bit up in this index range or go to the bottom of your index range. For instance, if you're using very expensive materials, then it is more likely or better or advised to set your price range, your index number, at the high end of your index range. If your art is framed in a very high-end manner, then this is also the case. If your artistic practice is very time-consuming and you can only produce 10 to 15 artworks a year, even though you're a full-time artist, then it makes perfect sense to set your index at the high end of your range. Whereas if an artist can produce a lot throughout the year, 50 to 100 works, then you should set your index range lower. If you are an abstract artist, the scale of your painting makes a great difference when it comes to the impact and also the feeling or experience of the value of the artwork. Therefore, with abstract artists, I advise you to set your smaller works at a slightly lower index range, your medium-sized works in the middle of your index range, and your large-scale works at the high end of your index range. Feel free to test this out with our calculator, which mentions all these criteria to get your index number right, or have a look at a couple of examples that we talk about in the online article to specifically see the way of reasoning to set this index range just about right. Now moving on to works on paper, drawings. Historically speaking, due to the material attributes and also the smaller scale of works on paper, they are historically priced lower in the art market, even though I'm not always convinced that this should be the case. Yet, as a result, too often artists price their work on paper at a fraction of the price that they price their paintings, which devalues your act of artistic creation a lot. And by doing so, if you would, for instance, price a painting at $2,000 and a slightly smaller piece, but it is on paper for just $200, then you're stating that the value is in the use of the canvas instead of your own artistic interventions, your own artistic creations. Therefore, we're going to opt for a slightly lower index range. However, it still should be very close to painting, especially when your works on paper are being presented in a very high-end manner, for instance, mounted on panel, that they have the presence of being a painting, or are being produced with unique materials or on a large scale. And therefore, I advise you to use the following index ranges. Hobby artists should price their works on paper between 4 and 8. Amateur artists between 8 and 12. New emerging artists between 12 and 16, advanced emerging artists between 16 and 20. And please note these dimensions are in centimeters and the price will be in euro. Moving on to fine art photography, you find a very similar approach here, however, once more with a slightly lower index range due to the fact that fine art photography prints are most often in editions and not unique pieces. However, if you print your works in a unique series or perhaps even do some post-production making it a very unique and analog artwork, then you should set your works once more at the higher end of the price range. When it comes to the edition, if the edition is very large, the index number should be lower. What is a large edition? I believe an edition of 50 is already really large. If you go beyond 50, it becomes very large, especially for fine art photography. I would advise you to remain between 4 and 12 when creating an edition. Make sure your editions are signed, numbered, and that you also have a couple of artist proofs, APs, to keep in your studio, and also mention the existence of these artist proofs in your tagline. For instance, 1 of 6 signed and numbered prints plus 2 APs. Besides the edition, of course, once more the presentation is very important. If you simply print them but show them unframed, the index number should be a lot lower. By doing so, hobby artists should price their fine art photography prints with an index number between 1 and 4. Amateur artists between 4 and 8. New emerging artists between 8 and 14. Advanced emerging artists between 14 and 20. Once more, in the calculator tool and in the online article, I include some examples for the specific reasoning if you should set when it's between, for instance, 8 and 14, when you have to set it at 10, when you have to set it at 12, or anything in between. To conclude, how to price your art prints. So here once more, the index numbers will drop slightly. With fine art photography prints, we're also working in an edition, so we're not talking about unique artworks. However, they are the only unique way the photograph can be a physical object. Here with the fine art prints, we're making a byproduct of a physical product, hence resulting in lower ranges. Once more, framing and the size of edition will affect the price, so that you have to select your index number in your price range. Hobby artists should set their index number between 0.5 and 1, amateur artists between 1 and 2, new emerging artists between 2 and 3, and advanced emerging artists between 3 and 5. And that is how you should price all different forms of two-dimensional art. If you're interested in pricing three-dimensional art or even ephemeral art, make sure to read the online article where we have a lot more examples. We also have formulas when you're calculating your price in inch and dollars. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, if you want to make your life a lot easier and make no mistakes in this process, we do offer a tool which is an Excel spreadsheet in the CAI store. Once more, as always, it is at a very, very modest price, so we can help as many of you as possible. Thank you in advance for visiting the article or purchasing our products. Please note that we have a lot of more downloads and useful products. For instance, a spreadsheet to generate a professional artist biography, a template to set up your artist resume, and much more. And you can find everything on our overview page on contemporaryartissue.com, advice for artists, or you can subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch our video on the #1 reason why your figurative art is failing next. Support us on Patreon and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.